I'm Neha Sahu, roll number 55. Will continue from oral anticoagulants. Among oral anticoagulants, coumarin derivatives such as warfarin and azinocormorol are commonly used. Oral anticoagulants are act only in vivo. They are vitamin K antagonists. Mechanism of action: clotting factors 2, 7, 9, 10 are synthesized in liver as inactive proteins. These factors are rich in glutamic acid residues and are carboxylated in liver where vitamin K acts as a cofactor. Carboxylation of glutamic acid residues is necessary for clotting factors to bind calcium, which plays an important role in coagulation. Vitamin K is converted to inactive epoxide form by oxidation and is regenerated to its active form by epoxide reductase enzyme. Warfarin is a coumarin derivative and has a structure similar to that of vitamin K. Hence, warfarin competitively inhibits the synthesis of vitamin K dependent factors 2, 7, 9, and 10 by inhibiting epoxide reductase enzyme, thus producing anticoagulant effect. The onset and duration of anticoagulant effect of warfarin depend on the half-lives of clotting factors, which are as follows: factor 7 6 hours, factor 9 24 hours, factor 10 36 hours, and 2 50 hours. There is always a delay in the onset of anticoagulant effect because the level of clotting factors already present in plasma declines slowly over a period of 1 to 3 days. Pharmacokinetics: warfarin is almost completely absorbed after oral administration. It is highly bound to plasma protein, freely crosses placental barrier, is metabolized in liver, and the inactive metabolites are excreted in urine and stool. It has a long half-life of about 40 hours and duration of action is 2 to 5 days. Echinocomorol. It has a rapid onset but short duration of action. Adverse effects: first, bleeding. Bleeding is the most important and common side effects of warfarin. Bleeding can occur anywhere, such as skin, pulmonary, GIT, and urine tract, etc. Bleeding can be controlled by oral or placental vitamin K1 depending on severity. About 6 to 24 hours is required for the synthesis of clotting factors. Fresh frozen plasma should be given in severe bleeding for immediate replacement of clotting factors. Oral anticoagulant therapy is monitored by measuring International Normalized Ratio (INR). Measurement of prothrombin time has been standardized internationally by each laboratory calibrating its own thromboplastin against the standard one. Second, teratogenic effect. Warfarin is contraindicated during pregnancy as it may cause nasal hypoplasia, CNS abnormalities, fetal hemorrhage, abortion, or intrauterine death. Third, skin necrosis. It is a rare complication that occurs within the first week of therapy. The skin lesions are commonly seen on breast, buttocks, abdomen, and thighs. Fourth, other rare side effects. This includes diarrhea, aploxia, urticaria, dermatitis. Drug interactions: first, warfarin with cholestyramine. Cholestyramine is a bile acid binding resin. It binds to and reduces the absorption of warfarin from the gut, thus decreases the bioavailability of warfarin and its anticoagulant effect. Second, oral anticoagulants with barbiturates, carbamazepine, rifampicin. They are enzyme inducers, increase metabolic clearance of oral anticoagulants and decrease the anticoagulant effect. Third, warfarin with oral contraceptives. The level of clotting factor increase leading to decreased anticoagulant effect. Fourth, warfarin with phenytoin or sulfonamides. Warfarin is highly protein bound. These drugs displace warfarin from plasma protein binding site, increase the free plasma concentration of warfarin, which can result in bleeding. Fifth, warfarin with erythromycin or metronidazole. They decrease metabolic clearance of warfarin and increase the anticoagulant effect. 6. Warfarin with tetracyclines. Tetracyclines suppress the bacterial flora and decrease vitamin K production, hence potentiate warfarin effect. 7. Warfarin with cefoperazone or ceftriaxone. Severe bleeding can occur due to hypoproteinemia. 8. Warfarin with aspirin and other NSAIDs. NSAIDs have an antiplatelet effect and displace warfarin from plasma protein binding site, thus potentiate warfarin effect. Factors affecting warfarin action. First, liver disease and hyperthyroidism result in decreased level of clotting factors, thus enhance anticoagulant effect of warfarin. Second, excessive intake of vitamin K and hereditary warfarin resistance decrease anticoagulant effect of warfarin. Contradiction. The contradictions of warfarin are similar to heparin. In addition, warfarin is contraindicated in pregnancy. Oral direct thrombin inhibitor. First, dabigatran ethoxylate. It is a product that is converted to dabigatran. It acts rapidly and causes reversible inhibition of thrombin. Laboratory monitoring is not required. It can be used for prevention and treatment of venous thromboembolism following elective hip replacement. Adverse effect is bleeding. Factor 10A inhibitor rivaroxaban, orally effective factor 10A inhibitor, is useful for prophylaxis and treatment of venous thromboembolism following elective hip replacement. It does not require APTT monitoring. As an anticoagulant, it is as efficacious as LMWHs. The adverse effects are bleeding, tachycardia, palpitation, and fall in BP. Therapeutic uses of anticoagulants. The main aim of anticoagulant therapy is to prevent formation of intravascular thrombus or further extension of the already formed clot. They do not break the clot or thrombus once it is formed. Treatment is initiated with a LMWH or UFH and continued for at least 4 to 5 days. An oral anticoagulant warfarin is used for maintenance therapy but is usually started simultaneously as it has a delayed onset of action. First, deep vein thrombosis or DVT and pulmonary embolism. Venous thrombi are mainly formed of fibrin network with a long tail that can easily detach and result in embolization of pulmonary arteries. Anticoagulants are used for the treatment and prevention of thromboembolism. For treatment of venous thrombosis and pulmonary embolism, heparin is administered. Warfarin is also started simultaneously. Heparin or LMWH is continued for about 4 to 5 days till effect of warfarin is obtained. Low dose heparin therapy is administered subcutaneously for prevention of DVT and thromboembolism in patients undergoing major surgery requiring prolonged immobilization. LMWH and fondaparinux are also effective. Laboratory monitoring is usually not required for this low-dose heparin regimen. Second, myocardial infarction. Anticoagulants such as heparin, LMWH, or fondaparinux are used in patients with a high risk of embolism, example, atrial fibrillation, and for prevention of mural thrombus. Anticoagulants help to prevent recurrent attack of myocardial infarction and stroke, especially when it given in combination with low dose of aspirin. Heparin is used during coronary angioplasty to prevent thrombosis. Third, unstable angina. The use of LMWH or UFH or fondaparinux reduces the reoccurrence of MI in this patient. Fourth, atrial fibrillation. This patient required prolonged oral anticoagulant therapy to reduce the risk of systemic embolization and stroke. Fifth, disseminated intravascular coagulation. Heparin may be useful in selected cases to decrease consumption of clotting factors. Sixth, other uses. Anticoagulants are required in prosthetic heart valves and vascular surgery to prevent thromboembolism. Heparin is the preferred anticoagulant for cardiopulmonary bypass surgery as it is highly effective and effects can be neutralized by protamine sulfate. LMWHS or fondaparinux is not preferred. Heparin is used in hemodialysis to prevent thrombosis in blood circuit. Now, fibrinolytics or thrombolytics. In response to stimuli such as injury or stasis, tissue plasminogen activator, also known as TPA, is released from vascular endothelium. It binds to fibrin bound plasminogen and converts it to plasmin, which degrades fibrin. Fibrinolytics are drugs that lyse thrombi rapidly by promoting conversion of plasminogen to plasmin. Plasmin degrades fibrin and rapidly resolves the blood clot. Streptokinase, urokinase, LT-plase, retiplase, and tenacitylase are plasminogen activators. Retiplase and tenacitylase are obtained from DNA recombinant technology. They have longer plasma half-lives than atiplase. Tenacitylase require only a single IV bolus injection and is more specific for fibrin-bound plasminogen. Now, uses of fibrinolytics. First, acute MI. The main aim of fibrinolytic therapy is to restore coronary artery patency. They are used as alternative when reperfusion with percutaneous coronary intervention cannot be done. This drug dissolve the clot by promoting the conversion of plasminogen to plasmin. They should be administered as early as possible once diagnosis is made. Early administration will help to decrease infarct size, improve left ventricular function, and decrease mortality. Thrombolytic therapy is most effective if they are administered within 1 hour of onset of symptoms. As time between onset of symptoms to administration of fibrinolytics increases, the benefit of therapy declines. Second, deep vein thrombosis. Thrombolytic therapy help to provide symptom relief, improve lymph perfusion, and prevent pulmonary embolism. Third, pulmonary embolism. Fibrinolytics are used to lyse the clot, improve pulmonary perfusion, and right ventricular function. Now, contradictions. These include recent trauma, recent surgery, recent abortion, recent stroke, severe hypertension, severe diabetes, severe liver damage, peptic ulcer, and bleeding disorders. Pharmacological properties of fibrinolytics. First, streptokinase. It is a protein derived from beta hemolytic streptococci. Streptokinase binds with circulating plasminogen to form a complex that activates plasminogen to plasmin. Both circulating and fibrin bound plasminogen are activated. Streptokinase is antigenic pyogenic, destroyed by circulating anti-streptococcal antibodies, hence not suitable for repeated use, and it is less expensive. It can be administered by IV infusion. Its adverse effects are bleeding, hypotension, allergic reactions like fever, chills, skin rashes, and rarely anaphylactic reaction. Second, urokinase. It is an enzyme obtained from human fetal kidney cell culture. It directly activates plasminogen to plasmin. Urokinase is non-antigenic, not destroyed by antibodies. Thus, it is administered initially by as IV bolus followed by IV infusion. Bleeding can occur and hypotension and allergic reactions are rare as side effects. Now third, LT-PLACE. It is derived from recombinant DNA technology. It has more effect on plasminogen that is bound to fibrin than circulating plasminogen. LT-PLACE is non-antigenic, not destroyed by antibodies, rapid acting, short half-life, more potent, more effective, expensive, and it is administered initially as IV bolus followed by IV infusion. Its adverse effects are lower risk of bleeding and allergic reactions. Now, antifibrinolytics. Antifibrinolytics block the conversion of plasminogen to plasmin and inhibit fibrinolytic activity. Epsilon aminocaproic acid or EACA. It is administered orally or intravenously. It is used mainly to control bleeding due to overdose of fibrinolytics after tooth extraction and prostate surgery in hemophiliacs. It can also be used in hematuria. It rarely causes myopathy and muscle necrosis. Tranexamic acid. It is available for oral, IV, and topical administration. It is more potent than EACA. It is used to control bleeding due to excessive fibrinolytic activity and following tonsillectomy, prostatectomy, tooth extraction, menorrhagia, etc. Its side effects are nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, headache, etc. Now we will continue with antiplatelet drugs. Drugs that inhibit platelet aggregation are called antiplatelet drugs. Classification: first, thromboxane TXA2 synthesis inhibitor. Second, phosphodiesterase inhibitor. Third, purigenic P2Y12 receptor antagonist. Fourth, glycoprotein GP2B3A receptor antagonist. First, aspirin, that is thromboxane synthesis inhibitor. Low dose aspirin irreversibly acetylates platelet COX-1 and reduces the production of thromboxane. Since platelet cannot synthesize new enzyme, the antiplatelet effect lasts for the lifetime of platelets, that is 7 to 10 days. In higher doses, aspirin inhibits both thromboxane and PGI2, hence antiplatelet efficacy is reduced. Common adverse effects are gastric irritation and bleeding. Second is dipyridamole, that is phosphodiesterase inhibitor. It is a vasodilator. It inhibits phosphodiesterase and increases the concentration of cyclic adenosine monophosphate CAMP levels, which inhibits platelet aggregation. It is occasionally used in combination with warfarin during post-operative periods in patients with prostatic heart valves. Diclopidine, clopidogrel, and prasugrel. They are thienopyridine derivatives. They are products and structurally related. They inhibit adenosine diphosphate ADP mediated platelet aggregation by irreversibly blocking purigenic receptors on the platelets. The antiplatelet effect persists even after discontinuation of the drug. They produce synergic effect when combined with aspirin or GP2B or 3A antagonist. They are administered orally. Prasugrel has a faster onset of action and a better antiplatelet effect than ticagrelor and clopidogrel. Bleeding is an important adverse effect. Risk is more with prasugrel. The other adverse effect of ticagrelor and clopidogrel is diarrhea. Neutropenia and thrombocytopenia are serious adverse effects of ticagrelor but rare with clopidogrel. Cangrelor and ticagrelor are newer antiplatelet drugs. They inhibit ADP-mediated platelet aggregation by reversibly blocking platelet P2Y12 receptors. Cangrelor is administered as IV infusion, whereas ticagrelor is effective orally. Now, Ibiximab, eptifibetide, triofeban, that is GP2B or 3A receptor antagonist. They block GP2B or 3A receptors for fibrinogen and von Willebrand's factor on platelet surface and inhibit the final step in the process of platelet aggregation produced by platelet agonists like thrombin, collagen, and thromboxane. Abiximab is a monoclonal antibody that binds to GP2B or 3A receptor. Tipeptide is a synthetic drug which is more specific for GP2B or 3A receptor. Triofeban is a non-peptide GP2B or 3A receptor antagonist. These drugs are administered intravenously and are used in percutaneous coronary intervention, unstable angina, and acute MI. The main side effects of these drugs are bleeding and thrombocytopenia. Now, uses of antiplatelet agents. First, acute coronary syndrome. It includes acute myocardial infarction and unstable angina. Dual antiplatelet therapy is used, reduces incidence of myocardial infarction, stroke, and mortality. Aspirin in combination with clopidogrel or prasugrel is used. The combination has enhanced antiplatelet effect. Patient with non-ST elevation myocardial infarction should receive dual antiplatelet therapy irrespective of whether they are managed with thrombolytics or PCI. Aspirin with P2 viral blocker is administered for at least a year. ST elevation myocardial infarction early initiation of therapy with aspirin and P2 viral blocker is recommended. It helps to maintain patency of recanalized coronary vessels, decreases occurrence of reocclusion, and reduces risk of stent thrombosis. The first dose of aspirin is given as soon as possible after diagnosis is made. P2 viral blocker is selected after deciding the brief perfusion strategy percutaneous coronary intervention PCI or thrombolytics. Aspirin and clopidogrel is used for patients who are planned for treatment with fibrinolytic. Aspirin and prasugrel is preferred in patients undergoing PCI. In unstable angina, a combination of aspirin with clopidogrel has been shown to significantly reduce cardiovascular death, myocardial infarction, and stroke as compared to aspirin alone. Second, coronary artery disease. Studies have shown that low dose aspirin reduces the occurrence of subsequent myocardial infarction, stroke, and death in post MI patient. Clopidogrel has been used as an alternative if aspirin cannot be used. Prosthetic heart valves. Valve thrombosis and thromboembolism are problems associated with prosthetic valves. Aspirin with warfarin reduces this risk. Tipyridamole may be used with warfarin to prevent thromboembolism in patients with prosthetic heart valves. Fourth, transient ischemic attack TIA. Early initiation of aspirin in patients with TIA reduces of recurrent attacks. For secondary prevention of stroke, aspirin, clopidogrel, aspirin plus dipyridamole are used. Fifth, peripheral artery disease. Aspirin or clopidogrel may prevent thromboembolism.